Hello YouTube, this is Bowtied Media, and today I have a review of Baauer's new album, Planet Mad. EDM sensation since it came out with Harlem Shake back in 2012, which I'm sure most of you know became a viral hit for its meme and all that related to it. This is his second album. His first one, Double A, came out in 2016, so it's been 4 years since we've seen a full-length project like this from Baauer. Within the grand scheme of the EDM scene, Baauer's style and production has been more on the heavier side, but has kind of been all over the place in terms of trap, dubstep, drum and bass, all that kind of stuff, where it's kind of ranged everywhere in the more heavy aspects of the genre. And I think this album, Planet Mad, sees Baauer expanding his repertoire and going into some more territory while maintaining the classic Baauer style, especially toward the latter half of this album. While not super noticeable at times, the entire album is continuous, so it's meant to be played as one entire art piece from front to back. An exception is the very, very last song, which I will talk about a little bit later. But with that, this album is 12 songs long, 39 minutes, and one small interlude, so I guess technically 11 songs. But let's get right into what I actually feel about this album. The first thing I noticed about this album, and especially through the first 3 tracks, is it sounds really deep and real. If you have some good quality headphones or speakers, the sound is just really, really strong and almost sounds like it could be used perfectly for an IMAX theater commercial or advertisement. You sit in and they're like the big booming sounds of the "this is IMAX," and you're like, oh, it sounds like Baauer as well. I really like that Baauer offers a unique dichotomy of instrumentation and sound design for this project. And while it's not my favorite song on the album, the track Yahoo is a perfect example of this, where you have his kind of classic deep sounds, deep bassy trap sounds, mixed with a light steel drum. And I think a lot of producers don't play with this as often as I wish they would, and I like that Baauer tends to give and take a lot and give an ebb and flow of the tracks. Whereas in Pizza Walla, I feel like it's kind of reversed, where the vocal kind of chop performance is a deep, kind of tribal voice where there's the high-pitched squeals that come in every now and then for the drop. While not all tracks maintain that space future narrative that the album art and title is portraying, tracks like Plank and Reach Up Don't Stop do a great job of keeping that space narrative alive. Baauer definitely isn't going for a mainstream approach to this project, and I really enjoy that. He got a lot of his success with Harlem Shake and became one of 2 artists of all time to have over 100 million plays in just 48 hours, with part of the viral sensation of that song, I mean, whatever. But he got his commercial success, and now he's going for a more creative outlook into his music and production. I think he knows he can hit chart-hitting songs again and create the kind of music, but he doesn't want to. He wants to be more creative, and he wants to do really what he wants to do. And you can tell that entirely with that project. It feels like it's Baauer. It doesn't feel like it's ghost-produced or feel like there's a ton of other artists involved and all that kind of stuff. It's really his direction and where he wants to go with the album. This is entirely Baauer's brainchild, and Home is a testament to that, where Bipolar Sunshine is just on the track as the one and singular feature, or I guess credited feature or co-producer on the entire project. As I mentioned earlier, I think after the halfway point, just over the halfway point, Baauer kind of goes into some more territory that he normally doesn't go into, and his tracks become a little bit more different than what he's normally known for. While the first half is pure bass, jungle, trap, that whole hybrid of the 3 combined, once you hit Aether, it becomes a drum and bass track, which we haven't heard a ton of from Baauer in the past, and the rest of the tracks kind of coincide with this idea of different genre exploration, where even some chill out is used later on. Cool 17 feels like the most experimental track that Baauer has put out on this project, while still maintaining that classic Baauer sound. And I gave it a ton of time to sit with me, and I went through a lot of plays of it, and I don't know, it just doesn't sit that super well with me. I find it just a little too all over the place for my specific liking, but I really like that he kind of went for some more variety with his track. And while I talked about enjoying Baauer's creative exploration and different genres in this album, Home just feels really apart from the rest of this album, and it feels like it doesn't fit at all. I think the track Remina was an interlude that was literally just in place so that Home wouldn't feel so out of place. And it was crucial to the success of Home and both Remina and I guess the rest of the project. I'm generally a fan of Bipolar Sunshine's vocal performances, but this one feels really lacking depth, and it just feels pretty dry. And the entire track is also mixed pretty flat, in my opinion. There's really not much going on, and like I said, used before, there's not a lot of depth of anything really going on this track. The closer track, Group, is kind of a really weird one to end on, especially because it breaks continuity, like I talked about a little bit earlier, across the entire album. The transition between home and group is not continuous, and it feels like it's just an added on bonus track while not being labeled as such. I'm really not sure what the purpose of this track is, and or the purpose of the last 3 tracks on this album. They all feel really out of place and kind of just gone from the whole idea of what the narrative is trying to explore in this project. I definitely love the first half of this project a lot more than the second half, and if the second half was a lot more like the first half, I think I would have scored a little bit higher. While I do enjoy Baauer's production design and style, it's not necessarily something I would listen to all the time, and that's not necessarily a good indicator of score, but it's just something that I felt it wasn't entirely for me. At the halfway point, this album kind of loses its intensity and narrative cohesion, and I think the latter half of the tracks actually squandered the first half quite a bit, and I don't know. This is a hard score, I think, for me to give. I love the sound design of Baauer and what he's given, but these tracks just, again, aren't for me, and they're not something I really want to listen to over and over again. I think ultimately this album scores a 6. But thank you so much for watching. I've been Bowtied Media. If you have any suggestions for something I should review in the future or look back at something in the past, let me know in the comments below. Leave a like if you like, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I will see you guys in another video.